Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Venice, which we call UCOV. My name is Janet Knudsen. I'll be your worship associate today. At UCOV, we strive to surround this community with the spirit of love in everything we do. You are welcome here, no matter where you are on your life journey, what your family looks like, or whether or not you have ever been to a religious service before. We are so pleased that you have chosen to celebrate and worship with us. Is there anyone here visiting for the first time who might want to stand up and introduce? Please stand up. And what's your name?
My name is Christine.
Christine, from where?
My husband and I moved from North Carolina, Hillsborough, North Carolina. We live in Venice, and I was part of the River Union in Durham.
Okay.
So we've settled here, and I would like to be part of the wonderful spirit that is here.
Well, welcome. We're very glad to have you. Anyone else visiting today? Is anybody leaving for the north and wants to give us a goodbye? Kendra? Okay, everybody's waving. Judy? All right, we do have a few announcements. The first one is by Brad Harding.
If you care to join in. What was all that about? Well, good morning. I'm Brad Hardin from your Social Justice Committee, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about that and then ask something of you later. That you saw, well, actually, we didn't actually see Trini singing that, but that's okay. He talked about having a hammer and a song and a bell, and we have that, if you look at a metaphor for it, that we have some tools that started to be of interest to us here in UCOV way back in 2007. And that's why I'm talking to you about that. We had problems back in 1963 when Trini was in UCLA singing this particular version of that song. We have different problems now, and as you know, they're much more serious. It's the election coming up in November, but the one in August is important too. And a member of our congregation said something about that I think is very good to mention. And that is that he does not want to get up the morning after the election in November and feel that he could have done something more if something bad happens. And I'm sure we all agree with that. Thanks, Rich. And he said it twice that I've heard. Well, there is something that we can do, and there have been a lot of thought about it by a lot of people over the last few years. Building up to now, we have a very serious issue coming up. And it has to do with disinformation. And that we have an awful big job trying to get people to see what the truth is. A lot of people are talking about that now. And I'm sure everyone here would like to do something to contribute to that. And so I'm going to ask you to please just look at an email which we're going to get next week, because it'll have some specific things that a lot of people have thought about that we can do. And it includes some tools that we started to be interested in here at UCOV. Some of us way back in 2007, there were several of us here that that were involved in that. So you'll be hearing about that, and some of that would take no more than 15 minutes once a month for you to contribute something, which Kendra gave us a plug about this. I know you can't see this very well, but it's a map of Florida, and it shows Unitarian congregations all over the state. And they're all going to be doing some of the same things that we're going to be doing, and that really gives us strength in numbers. So you'll read more about that in email. And Bill Sinkford came to Florida back in 2007 also, and he told us about his concern about a growing number of people that wanted to make changes to our society that were very dangerous. And he asked us as Unitarians to stand up and to oppose them. Kendra, were you one of the group of us that went up to Sarasota that day? I don't remember. It was a small group of us that went up to hear Bill Sinkford. Were you there? I think so. Henry? I don't know, Henry, if you were there, I don't know, but anybody else remember going up to hear him? Well, anyway, that's what this is all about. And John Van Camp and I will be putting together some of this information about what we can all do. And thank you for what you will all do to help us out. And thank you, Reverend Amy, for giving me this opportunity. And thanks to our wonderful IT experts over there that helped set this up.
And I have a brief announcement. Right after the service today, if you are interested, I encourage you to come. It's only going to be a very short thing. But John Van Camp and the social justice team are working on a challenge, and we talked about this 2 weeks ago. We are going to be challenging other UU congregations and some UCC congregations and some other congregations. We're hoping this gets bigger. We are challenging them to vote, 100% of their congregation to vote if they can, but if they can't, to get the highest possible percentage of the congregation voting. We're not telling you who to vote for, what to vote. But it's going to be a little bit of a competition. I said I'll even throw in a trophy for the winner. We want that trophy. So we are going to try to get 100% of our folks to vote, or as high as we can possibly get it. But we've put out a challenge, and we're going to push that challenge as far across the country as we can to see who can get the highest percentage of their congregation turned out to vote. If you want to talk about it after the service today, the nuts, the bolts, the specific, John and I will be here for just a few minutes. Stick around, ask some questions. That's awesome. But that's my 2-cent announcement, and I'll turn it back over to Janet.
Does anyone have any other announcements this morning? Okay, and don't forget that there are upcoming activities on the back of your order of service. We are now entering into sacred space, so please silence all your electronic devices. The reading for our chalice lighting is by Gordon B. McKeeman. Deep calls unto deep. Joy calls unto joy. Light calls unto light. Let the kindling of this flame rekindle in us the inner light of love, of peace, of hope. As one flame lights another, nor grows the less, we pledge ourselves to be bearers of the light. Lisa will now play our prelude with 1.5 hands.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Reverend Amy Petrie-Shaw, and I am so glad you are here today. I want to start with a few words from Elizabeth Gilbert, and you may have heard that name. She did the original Eat, Pray, Love, which has kind of entered into our cultural consciousness to the point that it's a little trite now. But the idea itself isn't so bad. She wrote, "Happiness is the consequence of personal effort. You fight for it. You strive for it, insist upon it, and sometimes even travel around the world looking for it. You have to participate relentlessly in the manifestation of your own blessings. And once you've achieved a state of happiness, you must never become lax about maintaining it. You have to make a mighty effort to keep swimming upward into that happiness forever, to stay on top of it." That's happiness. Happiness you have to work at a little bit to be happy. You have to do the things. And today we're not talking as much about happiness as we are about joy. And joy is almost the polar opposite of happiness because it is not something you have to work at. You don't need to get on a boat and go halfway around the world to find joy, though you may find it there. So that's what our discussion is going to be today. Come, let us worship here together. We're going to start with our entering hymn, number 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. So please rise in body or spirit as you are willing and join in singing number 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. Words are offered with levity because, as always, giving should never hurt. A police officer on traffic duty flagged down a car being driven by a UU minister. And the police officer walked up to the car and he looked because there was something odd. And he said, "Sir, you appear to have 12 penguins in the back of your car." And the minister smiled and glanced and said, "Well, yes, sir, I do." And the officer said, "Well, that's ridiculous. You can't have 12 penguins in your car. Take them to the zoo straight away." The minister shrugged and said, "Well, okay, if you say so, officer." And the officer said, "I'll let you go with a warning this time, but you take them straight to the zoo." He said, "Okay." And the car drove off. Now, the next day, the same policeman in the same spot saw the same car drive past with the same penguins in the back. And he flagged them down and pulled him over. And he said, "I thought I told you yesterday, you take those penguins to the zoo." And the minister looked very confused and he said, "But officer, I did. It was great. Today I'm taking them to church and then out to lunch." I was tired. So that we can continue to welcome all who walk, swim, or waddle through our doors, the morning offering will now be given and gratefully received. Thank you all so much, not just for these gifts, but for everything you do for the life and the work of your community. Because the church and the community, the church is not the building, but it is the community. And it's as a community of human hands and human hearts that we come together here to share our laughter and our tears, and to bear witness and to minister to one another as we struggle with life's sorrows and celebrate life's joys. So we're entering into our time of sharing our joys and concerns. You can raise a hand, and someone will bring you a microphone. Please share information only with permission. As always, before the service or at any other point, you're welcome to come up and light a candle on the candle table. But at this point of the service, I will light candles for you. So if anyone has a joy or concern, please raise your hand.
Good morning, I'm Jean, and I went to a shareholder meeting more than a week ago, the last one. So I felt like I'd been left behind for a long time, months. But at the meeting with John, my husband, who was the steward? Who was the steward? David Lindemer was the steward. It was really an education, because I hear about the budget, but they brought it to a level of high explanation. So, and as a phrase was uttered in that meeting, we own the church. We are the shareholders. So hats off to the task committee, who spends quite a bit of time trying to restructure this whole experience for all of us. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Tuesday, this gentleman is turning 80 years old. And I'm taking him to the Sarasota Memorial Hospital Board meeting, and then, right after that, to the school board meeting. No, our sons are coming in at the end of the week, and we're having a celebration. So,
hi, well, I am going to miss you all, no kidding. But just so you know, I'm going to be doing some work while I'm up north. I've been roped into being a precinct captain. I need this like I need a hole in the head. But it's going to be fun, and if anybody has any questions or anything about voting, about times, or whatever, call me or text me. I'm in Breeze. You can find me in Breeze, and I'm thrilled that several other people in this congregation I have also encouraged to become involved. So the lady who just stood up and her almost 80-year-old husband are also precinct captains in their precinct. And Jean Spitzer, bless her heart, has become an associate, okay, in whatever. And so people are getting involved, and that's kind of fun. So anyway, I'll miss you all, but I'll see you in the fall.
Hi, I'm Jean Barlow, and I'm here for the first time in 6 weeks. I'm so glad to be back with you. We had a cruise. You may remember, some of you, that I was trying to get a cruise together, which was a fundraiser for Venice Musicale. Some people who are members here are also members there. So we had our wonderful cruise, and we got home on the 9th, and I discovered that I had the world's biggest case of shingles. And I had it on my shoulder, I have it up in my ear, up in my head, on my chin, inside my ear, outside my ear. It was a mess. The doctors went, whoa, when they saw it. And then I got 2 days later COVID. So I was on double antivirals for quite a while. And I'm back now with, still some pain. I think there is some pain that sometimes happens with shingles. This is what I wanted to tell you. Get the shingles shot. I had the shingles shot in 19, but apparently it doesn't last as long as I thought it did. So please get it. It's a nasty thing when you have it. The pain is indescribable, followed by itching that you want to just claw yourself to death. Anyway, I'm glad to be back. Love to everybody.
Any other joys or concerns? There was another hand over here. Okay. Getting my exercise this morning.
Hi, I'm Trudy Jacoby, and my sister Corinne in North Dakota died on May 7th, and I was with her for her last week, and I'm very happy about that, and so was our other sister, and my 2 daughters came as well, and but I feel extremely sad. I'm going to miss my sister very much. We were very close.
Any other joys or concerns?
And one last joy. I want to thank from the bottom of my heart, Nancy and I would like to thank everyone who has helped with this move over to the parsonage, from those of you who brought food to those who came and sweated in the sun. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We cannot say thank you enough. May the love of this community hold all who need love and concern, and may the light of our community shine on the broken places of the world. May we never look away when we're needed. May the grieving be comforted and the tired find rest. May the broken places be healed, and may those who are filled with joy and love be abundant.
Our first reading this morning is Peak Experiences in Psychology by Kendra Cherry. In Abraham Maslow's famous hierarchy of needs, self-actualization is located at the very top of the pyramid, representing the need to fulfill one's individual potential. According to Maslow, peak experiences play an important role in self-actualization. Self-actualization is actually considered quite rare, which means that peak experiences can be equally elusive. Not all people reach the peak of Maslow's pyramid. However, peak experiences are not restricted to solely self-actualized individuals. Maslow believed all people are capable of having peak experiences, but self-actualized people are likely to experience them more often. Peak experiences are often described as transcendent moments of pure joy and elation. These are moments that stand out from everyday events. The memory of such events is lasting, and people often liken them to a spiritual experience. Peak experiences involve a heightened sense of wonder, awe, or ecstasy over an experience. A peak experience is a highly valued experience which is characterized by such intensity of perception, depth of feeling, or sense of profound significance as to cause it to stand out in the subject's mind, in more or less permanent contrast to the experiences that surround it in time and space. Our meditative reading is called Wage Peace by Judith Hill. Wage peace with your breath. Breathe in firemen and rubble. Breathe out whole buildings and flocks of red-winged blackbirds. Breathe in terrorists and breathe out sleeping children and freshly mown fields. Breathe in confusion and breathe out maple trees. Breathe in the fallen and breathe out lifelong friendships intact. Wage peace with your listening, hearing sirens pray loud. Remember your tools, flower seeds, clothespins, clean rivers. Make soup, play music, learn the word for thank you in 3 languages. Learn to knit and make a hat. Think of chaos as dancing raspberries. Imagine grief as the outbreath of beauty or the gesture of fish. Swim for the other side. Wage peace. Never has the world seemed so fresh and precious. Have a cup of tea and rejoice. Act as if armistice has already arrived. Don't wait another minute. Please join me now in 1 minute of silent meditation, thought, or prayer. Lisa will now play the interlude. Our second reading is How to Choose Joy Even When Life Stinks by Robin Shear. Yep, you read that right. There can be joy when life stinks. Have you ever experienced something that made you say to yourself, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy? Did you know that you can be entrenched in circumstances that lousy and still choose joy? Here's the bonus. Even if your situation doesn't change, your joy will change your perspective and give you reasons to get out of bed in the morning. I'd like to teach you a simple mindset shift that can begin adding joy to your life today. So a friend once said to me, I know that I can have a perfect life because I see yours on Facebook. I was stunned into temporary silence before I set her straight. Smiling or not, everyone has problems. Let me tell you, since then I have started sharing a few of my struggles with the world. I don't want to contribute to the false reality that life can be perfect for anyone. So the big question for today is, when life stinks, what will you do about it? Rely on happiness or choose joy? Wait, aren't they the same? Trust me, this is a distinction worth making. It's one that can improve your mindset and your life in a hurry. Happiness and joy have similarities. They are both very positive and make us feel great. We love feeling the rush of optimism surge through our veins, whether it's from happiness or joy. So who cares about the difference? People who want to live richly, fulfilling lives, even when their circumstances aren't great. As I see it, happiness and joy are very different. Image of an empty plate with crumbs of cake. Does this say happiness to anyone? Happiness is dependent on something going your way. It's circumstantial. When life is good, we feel good. Happiness is if-then thinking. If my paycheck is deposited today, then I'll be happy. While it feels awesome in the moment, happiness cannot last because circumstances change. What happens when the money runs out? The clothes don't fit. The diagnosis isn't what you hoped. When life's difficulties find you, relying on happiness to feel good is to be chasing what is not. Joy is a deeper inner effervescence that will be there regardless. It might be below the surface or way down below the rubble, but it's there. Joy can be a choice when life stinks. We can choose it when the money is gone. It can be our go-to when the natural disaster strikes, the meds aren't working, and somehow, even when hatred seems to rule the day. Joy is I have thinking. I have gratitude for kindness in someone's eyes, even when I don't have the opportunities I deserve. When our circumstances stink, choosing joy is celebrating what is. So think about what brings you joy. The bottom line is, while happiness and joy both make us feel great, if you want to be resilient and have joy when life stinks, you have to intentionally put effort into developing your joys. They'll be there to serve you well. Please rise and body your spirit and join in singing hymn number 311, Let It Be a Dance.
Say the words
we need to give Lisa an extra big hand on that one. Bless you. So I want to start this sermon in a way you're never supposed to, which is by asking a question. When was the last time, I want you to think in your head, when was the last time that you felt joy? Not just happiness, but absolute delighted joy. That overwhelming moment of perfect existence when nothing could be better and everything's running on all cylinders. Joy. Today we're going to explore the delicate dance between joy and happiness. They're linked concepts. They can even seem to be identical. For those of you who remember the old Patty Duke show, like Patty and Kathy, they seem to be identical. But they're actually more like mashed potatoes and mashed turnips. They look alike, but they are only loosely connected. Happiness is a fleeting emotion. It makes you feel better temporarily. It gives you a serotonin rush. It changes you for the better in the moment. It changes your life for the better in the moment. But you can be happy about some pretty lousy stuff. When the person that bullied you all through your job finally gets fired. Joy is an enduring experience, and living in joy changes you for good. Happiness, like our chalice flame, dances only in response to external stimuli. Something happens to make you happy. It's the warmth you feel when you go out on a nice day and the sun touches your skin. Or you get $1.99 off that meal deal you were going to stop and buy. When everybody's laughing at a good joke, or when you finally achieve a long-awaited goal, you're happy. And that's great. You did the thing and now you're happy. It's transient. Happiness is related to something that's happening or not happening. Oh, I'm happy I got up on time for work. Oh, I'm happy I didn't miss church this morning. Oh, I'm happy. And once the newness of happy wears off, the serotonin's gone. You may still feel pretty good, but you're not experiencing happy. It's a response to a point in time. You feel it. And in our culture, we're conditioned to seek happiness relentlessly. Smile more. How many of you heard that? We believe in accumulating possessions, achieving success, indulging in sensory pleasures, that makes us happy. It's like a mirage. Happiness then eludes us when we don't have those things, or when they break or go away. And we find ourselves on this treadmill, trying to earn the next happy, the next high. Even eat, pray, love. You got to go somewhere. You got to do the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing to keep being happy. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with happy. But it depends on stuff out there, the weather, our health, our relationships, our bank balance. When the sun shines, we're happy, and when it starts to storm, we aren't so happy anymore. What happens when circumstances shift? When happiness stops changing our life in the moment? Joy is different. Joy, unlike happiness, is an inner wellspring. It's a reservoir that lives beneath the surface of our life, and it's not contingent on external events, though they may help to trigger it. It emerges from our connection to something greater. Joy is the quiet contentment that accompanies us even on the darkest hours. It's our soul singing in harmony with the universe. Marianne Williamson writes, "Joy is what happens when we allow ourselves to recognize how good things really are." And that's true, but it's simple. Because joy is more than that. Joy is a peak experience for those of you who are science-based. Before I start coughing. Joy is a peak experience. It's a moment of highest happiness and fulfillment, according to Abraham Maslow. Now, Maslow's hierarchy of needs has been out for a long time. Many of you may have heard about it. What he says essentially is this: you can't care about being the best possible person, having the best possible life, if you're hungry or thirsty or unhoused. So if you're missing the basic needs, you can't worry about being your best person. You can't worry about living your best life. But if you have food and clothing and housing, you can begin to work toward living your best life. And the top of his pyramid is called self-actualization. You are living your best life. You are doing the things that lead you toward happiness, toward fulfillment, and you are having peak experiences. Peak experiences are not just restricted to those people at the top of the pyramid. What's a peak experience? Maslow said that there are exalted moments, great happiness, feelings of awe, temporary disorientation with regard to time and space, a complete loss of fear and defense before the grandeur of the universe. Perhaps comprising the most important aspect of his paper on the subject, Maslow noted that peak experiences often leave profound transformative effects in their wake. He commented that generally the person is more apt to feel that life is worthwhile, even if it is usually drab, pedestrian, painful, or ungratifying, since beauty, truth, and meaningfulness have been demonstrated to exist. When you have a peak experience, you hang there perfectly balanced, perfectly fulfilled for just a few minutes. Joy is a perfect moment. It is a peak experience. It happens to you often without warning. Everything is aligned, all is right with the world, and all you can feel in that second is perfection. For those of you who have children, it might have been the moment your child was born, or if you adopted a child, the first moment you saw that child. Joy might have happened on your wedding day, or on your divorce day. For those of you who love nature and being outside, you might find peak experience on that safari or that trip when you look out across what's in front of you, and just for a minute, everything is perfect, and all the bad falls away. All the unhappiness, all the worry, all the scared, and you are there, completely in that moment, immersed. That is a peak experience. And they can come anywhere. They can come while you're knitting. Just in that moment of flow. Runners may refer to it as flow. When you're so deep in the experience that nothing else matters other than the perfection of the moment. That's joy. Dr. Edward Hoffman writes, What can you do if you're 30 and turning the corner of your own street, you are overcome suddenly with a feeling of bliss, absolute bliss, as though you're suddenly swallowing a bright piece of the late afternoon? He said Catherine Mansfield actually wrote that in a celebrated short story, Bliss. Hardly coincidentally, the early 20th century British writer was herself 30 years old at the time. Her life was vibrant with dazzling moments. It's likely that Mansfield would have appreciated Maslow's scientific quest to uncover their value in our emotional and physical well-being. Joy happens when we align with our values, when we live authentically, when we live into the interconnectedness of the physical world. It's a realization that we are part of something so much bigger. And just for that minute, you're singing the perfect note in a cosmic symphony, and you know it. Joy is the moment where something clicks, and you are hanging weight-free and experiencing perfection, and it can happen anywhere at any time. And joy does not shy away from suffering. We find joy not despite our pain, but sometimes within it. When we grieve, when we hold space for others' sorrows, when we witness acts of compassion, there is joy. It is the paradox of the heart, a capacity to hold both sorrow and delight simultaneously. Even on death, my friend has died and I am sad, but oh, the joy that they lived, and that they lived at a time where I could know them. Here's the radical truth for all of you. You deserve to experience joy. You deserve those perfect moments, not because you earned them, you didn't, but because you exist. Joy is not a reward. Joy is your birthright. It is the inheritance of every living being, the gift of existence. Joy is not something you earn. I want you to think about that for a minute. Joy is not something you earn. A few years back, I was watching a Geico commercial that some of you may have seen. It's a little piggy, and they've done it with computer technology, a little piggy in the backseat of a car, and he has a pinwheel. And he's hanging his pinwheel out the window, and he's just yelling, "Whee!" This piggy is having the time of his life. And when I first saw that, I remember thinking, I felt uneasy, like this was some kind of hubris, because this is an insurance commercial after all. I was waiting for the car to roll or something, and somebody would be serving bacon. And I realized when I was feeling that I did that in my real life too. When the joy happens, I'm waiting for the car wreck and the bacon. Something bad is going to happen, because of course you don't get to be that excited about life, right? But nothing bad happened. That little pig and his pinwheel went wee-weeing all the way down the road. And I walked away from that, and I thought, this is why we say you can get wisdom anywhere. I want my pinwheel. I'm going to take my pinwheel, and I'm going to go yell wee whenever I feel joy. I get to take my pinwheel out there. What an amazing thought. I don't have to get permission. The universe isn't going to squish me because I put my pinwheel out and yelled wee. You get to be joyful. So release the burden of deservingness. You don't need to prove your worthiness to the universe. Joy doesn't discriminate. It flows freely to saints and sinners alike. When you extend compassion to yourself, when you embrace your imperfections, Joy finds a way home. And it says in your ear, you are enough. Our UU faith calls us to build beloved community, a place where joy is shared, where hearts open, where love abounds, where we can celebrate each other's joys, where we lift one another up rather than compete mercilessly. We create a sanctuary for the soul because joy multiplies in community. So if I were to dare to point you in a direction, it would be this one. Seek happiness, but dwell in joy. Recognize the sacredness of your own existence, the miracle of being alive. Carry the truth with you. You deserve joy. Not as a fleeting guest, but as a constant companion on your journey. Embrace joy as a birthright, not as some kind of conditional reward. You are enough. You get a pinwheel. Go forth and yell, "We!" Amen. May your mind be glad. May your heart be happy. May your spirit be sustained. May your fire be seen. And may you be joyful. We are going to finish today with number 131, Love Will Guide Us. So please rise in body or spirit as you are willing and able, and join me in number 131. Happiness, go in service, and go in joy. Peace, ashe, and may it be so. Amen.